Let it ride, baby. This is your show.
All right, I asked. All right, so episode 66, man. We got my two Black Republican friends on here.
That's false. That's false.
Wow. No, hey, all right, deadass. Let's start with it. What is parenting in a pandemic like so far for the two of you?
For me, it's good. My son is only he's about to turn a year. He's about to turn a year next month. So it's actually been a pleasure, man. Just being a dad and just getting to see him grow and do all the fun stuff. And I got no problems with it. And we get to be home with him all the time, so I'm good with it.
Hey, what? And then Chaz, how's parenting in the pandemic been like for you?
Yeah, I mean it's good now. I think it was an adjustment. Like initially, my son's a little bit older, 2.5 now. Like, so having him at home with us the whole time became difficult, you know. Right. So we luckily our daycare kind of reopened with some safe protocols and all that kind of stuff. So now we bring him over there. But it's like more to echo what Marcel said. It's actually been like great, like getting to spend more quality time with him and do stuff that you wouldn't normally be able to do. So it's cool.
You're giving the quarterback answers right now. That's good.
No, but that's the thing, though, Alex. You know, there's never been a time in recent history or even forever where the man is able to stay at home with a kid and spend as much time. So, you know, it's actually a blessing. It probably won't happen again.
Yeah, right. And you're up in Portland, Chaz, right? You're up in COVID Central pretty much, or Ground Zero.
Nah, I'm actually out in Seattle, bro.
Sorry, you're up in Seattle.
That was Ground Central originally.
Yeah.
But it was like an old folks home that really kind of set things off. It's like 14 people all in one old folks home. And that's where like, oh, we have all the cases. And then obviously it quickly became New York and we were an afterthought. So we're straight now.
Did you think it was going to spread across the country, or did you think there's going to be another like SARS, you know, or, you know, all the other,
When it came up, I thought it was going to be like, I was kind of blowing it off. Like this will be over in like a month. It's just like the media is making this kind of mass hysteria. We're going to be working from home for a month. And now it doesn't look like we'll be going back to like June of next year. So, or if that ever. So I think I kind of pushed it off a little bit. Like it wasn't that serious.
Right.
I was following the hell out of it, man. I was following it early.
Yeah.
When they kidnapped that doctor in Wuhan. They kidnapped him. I swear to God.
It was two, right? They kidnapped two doctors.
It was a journalist and a doctor.
The whistleblower.
The journalist wrote about it and said, yo, this is some messed up stuff that's going on. And then the doctor was over treating everybody. Right. And he died. Once he died from treating people, that was in like early January. I was like, oh, yo, this is no good.
It was like that movie Outbreak. So you didn't let any of us know. You was concerned the whole time. We talked about sports. We talked about everything going on in politics. You never let us know one thing about, hey, there's some doctors overseas. Just watch out, Ox and Chaz.
But you know how it is with us, man. You know, once you give the signal, people just start to run. You know how it is. They start to panic. They start to just go crazy. So I just wanted just to see, but I was definitely worried. That's for sure.
All right. So how I know the two of you, I actually worked with Chaz approximately about 6 years ago back in San Francisco. We'll get to that part of our lives. And then Marcel, they tried to hire you at that same company, but we were at our black limit at the time. I mean, it's what it is. K2 Partnering Solutions. Y'all should look into them for some illegal activity that's going on at the workplace. But anyway, but yeah, so, you know, but that's when I first met you all. And obviously we all work in the tech industry, but that's not where we all started. You two went to high school at St. Ignatius, right? Played football there. Now, Marcel, you a couple years older than Chaz?
Nope. Chaz is older than I am.
We're the same age. I'm like I'm like 6 months older.
Yeah, no, we're in the same class though.
You're in the same high school? Okay, because there's some discrepancies online. I was trying to follow along. Okay, so both played football.
Yes.
Okay. Any other sports?
Basketball and track.
Basketball, track. And I looked at your PR. I just want to make sure the online records are right. Your PR and the 110 hurdles is 14.7. too?
No, it's 14.53 at Stanford at the Stanford Invitationals.
They see, okay, you got to update these stats on Max Preps.
I know. I really care. I need to talk to him.
So Chaz, Marcel, please talk about what life was like playing football at SI. Please let the people know just kind of the prowess of SI. Like for anybody that wouldn't know what St. Ignatius Prep is like.
I mean, to be honest, we were kind of trash when we first got there. Like, I think we won one game our freshman year. 1-7 was the most important game. We beat SH, I believe.
Right.
But
Sacred Heart.
Yeah, Sacred Heart. Sorry, but yeah, we were kind of trash for a couple years, and then started to make the turnaround once we all started hitting the field on varsity. Had our best team to that point for a while. Our senior year.
Okay. Both of y'all play wide out.
We played wide out. I actually played behind Chaz.
Yes, you did.
But I ended up having a better career, so that's all that really matters.
That's what he can say. But yes, I did start over him.
So were y'all cool, or did y'all have beef? Like, was it like I know I'm better than, or how? What was the relationship like? What was the dynamic like?
It's always love. It's always love. I only got upset with Chaz when we used to go out before games and then start speaking in French and refuse to go home before the game.
Yeah. No, we were always homies, and it was always love. I mean, it was always competition. Like, I always know I'm better, but at the same time, I was always supporting him. He always supported me. Yeah. And like you said, we had an on-field scuffle one time.
Oh, let's hear this. Let's hash it out now.
I was running a route and I didn't go back. Like, we had a rotation, and I skipped my defensive rotation. And having to do that. And Marcel's like, oh, you're too good to do this, blah, blah. And I was just pissed off because I had, like, dropped a ball or something. I was like, Marcel, I don't need this right now. Like, just chill out.
Right.
And he's like, oh, yeah, you think you're too good? And it's like, Marcel, if you don't shut the fuck up, I'm about to slap the shit out of you right now. And he's like, do it then. Do it. And I'm like, hey, you're wearing a helmet? Fine. Bow. You know what I'm saying? And then, of course, like, we started getting into it, and the coach was like, let him fight. Let him fight.
Why?
Yeah.
You know these coaches, you know, first of all, St. Ignatius, just so everybody knows, St. Ignatius is pretty much the most affluent private school in San Francisco. And it's filled with nothing but privileged, elite white people.
All right.
And the coach happened to be Caucasian at the time. And he was just like, hey, man, just let these two dudes fight, man. Who cares?
Right.
There's no skin off my back. But
right.
No, it was all love, man. It was actually just us holding each other accountable, which you're supposed to do. So
gave the good answers. So I one of my favorite parts about high school football is the terrible advice, life advice, field playing advice, body advice that the high school coaches used to give y'all. Do you guys remember any off the bat?
Wait a second. Before I answer, Ox, how would you know, bro? Did you play varsity football? Did you play?
This is my podcast, bro. Like, I can edit this however I want. That's wild, bro. You know, I mean, listen, bro. I was the Rudy of my football team. You know what I'm saying? Like, I gave it my all. I got in when we were up or down, but like everyone was rooting for me, and they used to call me Radio. You know.
Wow.
Bro, listen, and I remember because I played football, basketball, and golf, and I remember basketball game never got in. I think I was my junior year, and sophomore year. Someone went down with an injury. Our strength and conditioning coach is like, Ox. I yell off I rip off my sweats. And I'm like, yeah, coach. He's like, go hand him some water. I'm on the. That was the last game I think my parents ever showed up to. You know. Anyway,
that's hilarious.
So in high school, was college football always the game plan for y'all, or what was what was your sights set on at that point in life for y'all?
Go ahead, Chaz.
I mean, yeah, for me, I always wanted to be a professional athlete. I always thought I was going to make it. So, and I always just wanted to go D1. It was like D1 or bust for me, which kind of really hurt me in my college career. But that was always the plan.
Yeah. Okay.
No, for me, man, I was just playing, man. I just wanted to play just to be out there. I never had no plans of nothing.
Yeah.
I never had no plans of nothing. I figured I would go to college. I never knew where I was going to go. I had no idea.
Now, Marcel, how did you end up in San Francisco? Aren't your family live in Oakland, right?
No, we grew up in like San Pablo, in the Bay Area. So I grew up out there, and then I went to school in San Francisco.
Okay.
So I was just always in school out there. So that's just how that worked.
Y'all ever went bowling at Pinole Lanes?
No, my dad's an awful bowler, so he never wanted he never wanted to go out there.
Yeah.
He never wanted, but we always just go to the Pinole movie theaters all the time though. That was our shit. And the hometown buffet.
Bro, I remember Sizzler and Hometown Buffet thinking that was the pinnacle. Like, once I made it in life, I'd be able to eat there whenever I wanted, right?
Straight up. See, so you may be a little bit too young for this, but for me, it was Hometown Buffet and it was Denny's. Denny's, the $1.99. Are you out of your mind? The Grand Slam, that used to go crazy. That thing used to go crazy. I'm telling you. Anyway.
$1.99? Are you out of your mind? You remember like Mr. Chow's fast food restaurant, the commercials?
Yes.
Used to go crazy.
I said, man, used to go crazy. I used to love that shit. Anyway.
So was commuting to the city for you difficult as a young kid?
Absolutely, every day. So I used to walk down this big ass hill from my grandma's house at like 5:45, and then we would walk down there and catch the BART into the city.
Yeah.
And then I would hop on the bus. I started taking the bus by myself when I was like 6. So the bus used to drop my dad off at Kaiser because that's where he worked, and I used to just take it all down the line to the school.
So why SI? And Chaz, you were living in the city at the time too, right?
Yeah, I'm from the city.
So why was SI the decision for the two of your families?
My mom made that for me. Straight up. I was always public school, and I weirdly enough went to like the same schools in the Sunset. Like, she was always trying to get me into a better school, so I would catch the bus out to the Sunset, and then I found out about SI because my neighbor was going there, and that's really the only reason I applied. I was going to go to Lincoln or Wash if I had a choice, but once I got in, my mom was like, "Nah, you're going to SI."
So you had to test in?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I had to test in all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, no, for me, my dad was always he was always just the same as Chaz, always trying to put me in a better situation than what he had. And I had 2 cousins that were already going there, and they heard some great things about it, and I just got good grades and got in. I actually didn't even need to apply. My dad kind of like pitched me as like an athlete / 3.7 student, black,
right.
Some shit like that.
Right.
And it worked. So that's how I got in there.
So you're approaching your, end of your junior and senior years. At this point, Chaz, you said D1 or bust for you, and Marcel, you were just kind of behind Chaz, just kind of looking up to him.
Love that phrasing. Love that phrasing.
See, of course, for me, I'm not receiving any type of offers. No one really got no one at Piedmont was getting looks at like that. So I don't even know what that journey from firsthand looks like. Are you guys receiving letters from colleges at this time, or what's happening there?
Well, kind of how it happened was that I just randomly started getting calls. Like, I randomly just started getting calls. Like, Chaz he'll tell you, he was probably a little bit more on that road.
Yeah.
But I was never on the road. They just started calling. They just started calling and showing up to the school and shit. I'm like, oh shit, that's what's up.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. You start getting letters.
Yeah.
One of the major flops is I actually was supposed to go. Well, I could have gone to UCLA camp, but the coach didn't give me the letter in time to go.
Yeah.
And then my own head coach, great coach, by the way, amazing guy. But anyway, then I was actually supposed to go to the Michigan camp, which our homie DeMarco went to.
Wow.
But I freaking got a D- or D or something in religion, which put me under a 2.0 for that period, and I'd make it up in summer school. So
how do you get a D in religion?
I got an F.
How do you fail religion?
I mean,
there's a God.
I don't know what we were doing. I was never into religion, bro. I was that school, honestly, A, I didn't want to go to the school because I was like, it's going to make me preppy. But B, is like religion just thrown in your face like that. And my mom wasn't about that. She believes in God and all that kind of stuff, but never forced me to do it. And once it's force fed into your mouth like that, it's like, and that made me not want to be about religion whatsoever.
For sure, right.
I just hated the teacher. I just hated the teacher. if I hate you, I'm not gonna do nothing for you. That's just how I live my life, unfortunately. But
that's so crazy. Religion was the thing that held y'all back. So when y'all made it, and did y'all? You don't thank God at any of your pinnacles in your life. You never like, I want to thank God. That's crazy.
I'm not Catholic though. That's the thing though. So
right.
It's like I was never Catholic. They were just trying to teach all that stuff. I knew all the stuff, man. I done read the Bible my whole damn life. But
right.
Just like this teacher was whack. So I just I checked out. But that happens.
So how did we both settle on Portland State?
I went there out of high school.
Yeah.
I was going to go to Fresno State. They offered me a walk on, but then I had a couple of my boys were already getting recruited to go to Portland State.
Yeah.
Like three of my close friends, and I was like, you know what, fuck that. I'm just gonna just go up there. And I walked on, and then I balled out the first 2 days there, and they gave me a scholarship on the spot. So that's
from practices.
From 2 days were the practice. I went heads up with the safety, and I jumped over the starting corner to a tub, and then they were like, all right, let's get this guy a scholarship.
But did you ever visit Fresno State?
No, I did not.
Okay.
I knew it was in the boonies, though. I knew it was in the boonies. And I was like, nah, I'm good.
Yeah. And then Chaz, for you, how'd you end up at Portland?
Very different. I mean, out of high school, I told you D1 or bust. So I was like looking at Oregon State or Arizona State, and obviously it's like rain or party school. So I went to Arizona State. I really should have went to City fresh out of high school, but it was looked down upon from our school to go to a JC. So I was like, and I wanted to get out of that.
It's crazy enough. I think that's completely changed. Like after my group of kids has left, I think the CC route is so much more widely more accepted now.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah, no, I wish I would have, like, I knew they were a juggernaut too. So I was like, I wish I would have just done it. But of course I was a silly 18-year-old. So I was like, I'm just trying to get out of the house, go party. Right. So I went to ASU. That coaching staff actually got fired after my first semester.
Who was that? Was that Dennis Erickson?
No, that's when Erickson came in. It was Dirk Cutter that got fired.
Okay.
But then I bounced back to City, and then I ended up getting hurt my second year when I was talking to a couple different, like Utah State, some other smaller schools and stuff like that. Yeah. Temple. But Temple was whack at the time. And so I just like, my homies were up at Portland State, put me on. So I was like, all right, like I'm going to finally go play with them again. Like it was kind of like a dream come true. And then that like was a whole different.
Right.
I got kicked out. I got kicked out when he came.
As soon as I went up there, him and Smitty, like all three of my homies that I went up there to freaking play with, got kicked off the fucking team. I was like, "What the?"
All three?
What?
Yes.
Yeah.
Everybody.
So wait, Chaz, when you're hype at this point, and then all three get kicked off, are you like, "I'm here" at this point, or are you thinking about leaving too?
I didn't even know until I was like just about to go up there. And like Smitty dipped. He wasn't trying to talk to no one. Sally was the only one Sally and Josh stayed up there. And Sally picked me up to the coaches didn't even tell me, bro. He brought me to the coach's office after
I was already kicked off.
He was already off the team. And then of course then the receiver coach is like, "Oh, so I guess you must have heard." Like, bro, yeah.
Yeah, it was cold-blooded.
They did us so dirty up there, bro. It was crazy.
Marcel, I'm seeing a theme here. You just don't let people know about information.
No.
That's kind of important.
But here's the thing, though. It's always from a good place because I knew that Chaz was excited about getting up there, and I knew that he was, it wasn't like the big time D1, but it was still good. It was still good enough. So homies were still up there, and I just didn't want to ruin the experience for him. So
yeah.
I just stay solid. That's all.
He did me a solid all the way through. Like like I said, he got me, like brought me to the coach's office, like kept it real, ran through the playbook with me. Like he was out there on the practice, like in the summer, helping me with the routes when I'm out there working out with the team because he just like wanted to see me do well. So that's why, as much as we're always competitive, it's always love, and I always respected him because not many friends like would have been willing to put themselves in that situation.
Right.
So,
I know at some places a perception can completely fuck your opportunities. Did having your friend, get kicked off the team, did that put you at a disadvantage at all when you were there, Chaz, or was it a blank slate for you when you finally got there?
No, I mean, I think it was like, it wasn't like I was tied to them. They just weren't running stuff right. Like, for example, like our academic advisor was not looking out for anyone on the team. And she, like, I remember one of my first meetings, she mentioned like, oh, like, these are the majors that you mostly want to kind of maybe avoid unless you're really going to be into it. Because like with your commitment to football and stuff, we haven't had anyone really do like architecture. We haven't had anyone that's done an architecture major. And it's like, well, actually, my homie just kicked off the team was doing architecture as a major. So you just lied to like 80 new kids. You know what I'm saying? So like, I was always kind of jaded, I guess, in a sense too, because of that. So I had some run-ins, and she like did me dirty too. So I was just like, I don't think the only person who was weirdly looking out for me was the head coach, who was like he's the one that traded Brett Favre. So like he was like trash, basically.
So, and then at this point in your lives where you know you guys are in new areas, where aside from a couple of friends that you have, I mean, is school, obviously academics isn't top of mind. Like what else are you doing at this point? Or is it just training 24/7? All right, you're social, you're being social. I mean, is there anything that is it, you know, what's keeping your mind focused, or what's the carrot at the end of the road for you at this point? Obviously you're not at like that big baller D1 school. It's like Chaz, you had hoped, but what's at top of mind for you that's keeping you guys going?
Are you talking about before I got kicked out, or are you talking about
before you got kicked out? And then I would like to know, where is your mind at that point? You just got kicked out of an opportunity. I mean, what kept you going? Did you think that you'd be able to play somewhere else immediately? Like, why didn't you give up at that point?
So for me, really kind of what got me in trouble, man, I was just in the streets heavy, like partying heavy and not really taking class very, very seriously and stuff like that. And that kind of maybe affected me, but I was still actually balling. I really got kind of done dirty at the end, but keeping me there, you got to understand in Portland, Portland is where.
Nope, we're not. We're going to rewind and we're going to cut that part out. So Portland has very friendly people, is what you're trying to say.
Okay. Yes, the women there are very friendly, and they're not too affiliated with African American people.
Got it.
So they were very intrigued by all of us.
Right. And so it was just like, okay. And you're like, oh, look at this. This is new.
This is great. This is
the appreciation. I haven't had that before. I got you.
This is fantastic.
So you were distracted.
Very.
Dr. Umar would have some words for you right now.
That's okay. I'm with you. I needed him at the time. But I think it was a fun time, man. It was an all-time time. Like, I don't know if we can get into that on your platform.
No.
But,
no. So, Chazel, at this point, so Portland State, are you think you're going to go there for 4 years, and then leave, or what?
I had already used up 2 years. It was like 2.5 years before I got up there. You know what I'm saying? So I was like, I'm in here for 2 years. I'm going to be able to play with my homies. You know, like, that was the plan. Once they were not going to be a part of that equation, one of my homies, Big Josh, stayed at the school for a bit. But yeah, I was always just like a 2 year and just ball out as much as I can, try and get looks and make it to that next level. You know, that was always the plan.
Okay, and then so for you, Marcel, how did Linwood University pop up, man? I mean, Missouri, how did that happen?
Man, it was just it was the only opportunity that I had, man. It was just because I had gotten released so late in the calendar year. Yeah, I really didn't have nowhere to go. Like, and then what happened was that the new coach came in and cut like 50 people off the team. Like half the team's gone. So everybody else was just trying to scramble, trying to figure out where they're going. And a homie of mine said, two homies of mine said they were going to this place called Lindenwood. Yeah. In Charleston. I was like, I ain't going out to Lindenwood, man. I don't know nobody out there. I don't know nothing out there. Yeah. I talked to my dad, and he was like, he gave me some very good advice. He was like, man, if you're talented, they will find you. It does not matter where you go. If you're talented, they will find you. If you want to go play at the next level, go do that. Right. They're offering you a scholarship to go complete your education. You'll be the first one to graduate from college on my side. Right. Like, you just need to go do that because you can still play.
Right.
And that's all I needed, man. You know, a word from my pops is all I ever really needed in order to get my mind straight and get back on the right train. So that's how that happened. I went out there, no visit.
Yeah.
I just went out there to this place called St. Charles, Missouri, which is like 25, 30 minutes outside of St. Louis.
So give us the picture for people, obviously, that aren't in your shoes. You don't know anybody in this town, in this place. You don't know this place at all. I mean, how like, what do the coaches do for you at a smaller school like this? You know, what type of welcoming service do you have? Or is it just like, all right, practice is this? Like, what is that like?
I'm going to tell you how I first got there.
Okay.
And mind you, I went from 1AA to a division that nobody knows called NAIA.
Yeah.
I get there. I've never been there before. I get there. It's humid as hell. I'm just like, what the hell is going on? So I get picked up by the coach. He takes me to this place called Showtime, right? We have some wings. I think some games are on, or some college basketball games are on. Take me to Showtime. He said, oh, your roommates are going to get here tomorrow.
Yeah.
He takes me to this dorm, or not even this dorm, this kind of apartment.
Yeah.
This shit is so run down, bro. It's like, it's like worse than it looked like the projects, bro. It looked like the projects. So I go in there, bro, and there's like a mattress on the floor, no bedding, no nothing. And I go in, I swear to God, this is on Mama's. I swear, I go in there, I go to the back room. There's like roaches and shit on the ground, bro. I'm like cleaning this shit up. I'm just like, damn. I go in there, and they don't even got the electricity on.
Oh,
no electricity on.
Yo, there's no way. There's no way this is real.
Bro, I'm telling you, I swear to God, I went out there with no blanket, no nothing. I literally just put on like 2 pair of sweats and 2 sweaters and slept on this mattress with no sheets, bro, for the first night I was there, bro. It was awful.
Gosh. So at what point, you're obviously thinking about quitting at this point?
No, I'm out there.
Wow.
I'm out there. I got to finish school.
Right.
I got to finish school. I'm out here. Like, I just got to deal. I'm out here. So, my homie comes the next day. We kind of just link up from there, and then we just go to practice. And then my first practice, I go out there. I get hurt. I pretty much dislocated 2 of my fingers. I dislocated 2 of my fingers, and then I'm out for maybe a week or so, where everybody's like vying for position. Yeah, and then it was just a rough road from there for me to start.
So that was your junior year. Your senior year, it looked like y'all balled out. Y'all made it to the championship, right?
Yeah, we balled out. Yeah, I started starting for them. Like in game like 7 or 8 my junior year, because I ran this fool down from the corner. Our quarterback threw a pick on the 5-yard line going in. I was in the corner, threw a pick to a flat, and then the guy just taking off. Yeah. There's nobody around him. I just catch him from the corner and I catch him at the 50.
You pulled a Jerry Judy, huh? You caught homie from the back.
No, from the back, from the 50, and then the coach was like, "Oh man, this guy's fast.
Yeah,
he's really fast. We should put him out there."
Yeah.
I start the next game. I go for 150, and the rest is history. So that's just.
So you finished second on the team in yards.
Yep. And
then you finished third with catches.
Yep.
Did you have do you have like a high from your days at Lindenwood? Do you have like a day on the field, or do you have like a day in classes, or just a day out there where it's like, yeah?
So I had a couple of those days, but I had this is kind of a downer, but my grandma passed away on my birthday, and it was like in October, and everybody was wearing pink and everything like that. So she died on a Tuesday. And then we went out there and played on Saturday. Yeah. And I went for 235, 2 tugs. So that was a cool day for me. I knew she was looking out.
And are you keeping in touch with Chaz during this time as well? Is that a partner? Okay. So Chaz, dipping back over to you, how did you end up at Humboldt? Because I thought you said that your eligibility was running out. How'd you get a couple more years?
Yeah, man. So I got played, essentially going into what would have been my like redshirt senior year or whatever. I was supposed to be starting like had a good spring, all that kind of stuff. And then that same academic advisor comes and tells me that somehow I don't have any more D1 eligibility. Like this is just after spring is finishing up. And it's like, oh yeah, like looking at it, you don't have any more D1 eligibility because you have to play your 4 and 5 years. You know what I'm saying? So this is like this is like now 5.5 or whatever. So you can't play D1 anymore. So like I'm obviously crushed. I'm like, what am I gonna do? Same as so I guess I never really planned on giving up, but at that point I was like D1 obviously can't happen, you know, and I kicked myself for again not going to City from the beginning.
Right.
Just like not knowing because my mom's from Belgium, like no one knew how to like really navigate the system and eligibility or like school me on it properly.
Right.
So from there, Smitty was at Humboldt. Smitty was our other homie receiver that went down to Humboldt. He had just played for them, and he lightweight ball. And so I was like, all right, you know, like, and actually another side note, I was actually supposed to go to Lindenwood after and follow in Selly's footsteps.
Wow. Okay.
But same thing happened. Like I wasn't really hearing from the coach. Had a little like car accident, so I was like, you know what, I need to not fly across the country. It wasn't a big thing, but like, I was just like, I should have gone, honestly, but for some reason I was just like, I'm not feeling it.
Yeah.
I'll be closer. I'll still be in Cali. I can see my mom stuff. So I decided to go to Humboldt.
Yeah.
And that's how I ended up there. Was supposed to play, like basically tear my hamstring before the season starts.
Yeah.
And at that point, I still was able to play D2 or lower, but I only had that one semester to play, and I couldn't get a medical red shirt.
Yeah.
So at that point, it was a wrap. You know what I'm saying? Like, I can't get anything else on tape.
Right.
And so, yeah, at that point, and then a few months later, ended up getting baby mom was pregnant with my older son, Gabe. So I was like, you know what? It's just time to just get this degree and get this paper and support my family. So
for sure. And so I think this is a dumb question from a non-athlete, but you had some bad injury luck. And Marcel, you said you had a couple injuries. Is there something you could have been doing differently to prevent you from getting these injuries? Like, could you have trained differently, or could you have can you feel yourself like starting to have an issue and you're like, maybe I should have just not pushed it? Or are these just freak things that happen?
I think the last one was more of a freak thing because maybe if I would have started training or not went full go into it, it could have prevented, because then you go into doubles and I think that's where it popped and I tried to play through it. So that was probably stupid. And then it was just done. But earlier in my career, especially at City and beyond, we were kind of broke. So it was just lack of nutrition. I would go through practice and have one little ham sandwich in the day, and the trainers telling me I need to eat more, but I got $5 to spend on food for the day. So stuff like that. Also probably not doing some of the extracurricular things that we were doing at the time, but I was pretty serious about training. So I think it was just that for me, some bad luck and just lack of being on the nutritional height. That definitely would have helped.
Yeah, no, for me, I had injured my left hamstring in the season, and it was always kind of a little bit of an issue. But then going into my senior year, I was getting a lot of traction from the NFL. We was having 25 scouts plus at practices every day.
Who was bringing the scouts, or is that typical for NFL scouts to go to all these different colleges?
It's typical for NFL scouts to go to all these different colleges, but it's not typical for NFL scouts to go to NAIA.
Right. So who was drawing the scouts to that school?
I was. I ran in my junior year. Junior year when I started killing, that kind of put me on the map. And then I ran a 4.41 and a 40.
Oh, you were still running track. Oh, okay. You're
4.41 and 40 for junior pro day.
Right.
For the Vikings and the Bears and the Rams at the time.
Yeah.
And then that just kind of put me on, and then they just started coming out. They just start coming out. And then we had some other guys out there that were balling too. We had the transfer that was super fast, 4.3. We just had ballers, and that's why we ended up going to the championship.
And where's your head at this point? Because I'm going to assume that the league wasn't on your radar before.
No.
Yeah. So when you're when you're getting scouts to come out and watch you play, where's your head at that point then?
at that time, I'm just trying to just do the best I can on the field. Like, you can't just think so far in the future. Like, oh man, I'm about to go to the league. Like, no, like people were calling, people they were there.
Yeah.
But they're not going to keep showing up every week. So it's just like you got to keep on. You got to keep pushing the envelope, and that was really just where my mindset was at. And I just let the cards fall wherever they may. I never thought that I would play college football. I never thought that I'd do a lot of things, but I just got put in the right position, and I just let fate and let that go how it goes.
That's crazy. So y'all losing the championship?
Yes, we did.
I'm sorry, it was a close game, but the rest of the whole year, you guys are blowing teams out. I just looked at some of the stats earlier.
We set the most. We're actually in the NCAA Hall of Fame. My picture's behind the glass. If you go to the actual physical NCAA Hall of Fame, they have Lindenwood, our team, in there, but they have my picture next to the team in the Hall of Fame.
For
football, we scored the most. I think we averaged the most points for a college team ever.
That's crazy. And then just folded in the championship. That's wild. So, and then how did
Thanks, Ox. Appreciate that, man.
So, so what's the transition for, like, did you get invited to the combine, or so after football season at Lindenwood in Missouri, what happens? Did you graduate? Did you graduate from there? Did you finish school?
I finished school actually years later. I left early. I still had maybe like 2 or 3 more classes left that I would take in the summer.
Right.
But what happened was after the season, they just start calling them. They were just like, yo, I was on a projection list to go like 5th, 6th, 7th round. So
wow,
it was just kind of consistent throughout the whole time. So all I did was just kind of train. And I think, to circle back to your other question in terms of injuries, I just overtrained, man. I just overtrained, and I blew out my hemi. I blew out my hemi before our pro day, because I did our pro day. This was a month before the pro day, so I did our pro day and I did the Missouri University of Missouri pro day. But I only had 4 weeks to rehab my torn hamstring, which, if anybody knows, you can't do it. You just can't really do it. But I did well enough. And on draft, the last
do you know anybody in the league at this point, or do you have do you have an agent at this point, or is there someone that's giving you advice from this level at this point?
Yeah, no, I got some weak ass agent. No, I got an agent. But he don't really know too much. But I'm just looking at the projections, like where my ranking is, where my numbers are. I'm still getting calls, like. And they had me projected to go 5 through 7.
Yeah.
But I didn't go 5 through 7 because I knew I had an injury.
Right.
And then
were you getting calls from teams about the post draft? Yeah.
6th round. I don't know if you know this guy named Charlie Joyner. He used to be the NFL's leading receiver.
Okay. Before
Jerry Rice, for the San Diego Chargers, and he kept calling me. He was calling me. Texans, the Steelers. The Chargers, and Miami and Green Bay.
Right.
Those were the people that kept calling me, and then I just ended up choosing the Chargers as a priority free agent after the draft, because I just I'm going back to Cali, so I was like, cool.
Right. That's amazing. And I mean, so you're obviously have the uphill battle. You're fighting for spots against the people that got drafted. There's incentives to keep players that were drafted versus undrafted free agents, from my recollection. You spend how much time did you get to spend with the Chargers?
It was not a lot of time.
Yeah. Did you get to meet the head coach at least while you were there?
Oh yeah, I got to meet him. I got to meet more than a couple of times. No, everybody was cool, man. I got to meet everybody. Everybody was chill. I think I was there for like 3 months. Just living down there, just chilling. Before I got released and coming back up here.
So I mean, it was just done from that point, or?
Well, the thing was that I was still injured, so I got injured again when I was with the Chargers. I fractured the capsule of my ankle. My cleat got caught in the ground when I was running a comeback, and I fractured my ankle. And I was still suffering from the torn hamstring.
Right.
So when I got released, that was like right before the season.
Yeah.
So I couldn't really do. I wasn't even healthy. I wasn't even healthy enough. So at that point, I think they were just talking about Miami, but I just wasn't healthy, and then I didn't feel right about it because I go out there, I'm not healthy. It's just my head was all messed up because I just knew I wasn't at that level because it's fast, man. Like it's a whole nother game. It's a whole nother speed. Anybody will tell you that's ever been there.
Yeah,
the speed and everything is so much faster. The plays are so much longer.
Yeah,
it's like. You really gain a lot of respect for those guys who go out there and do it at that level. But yeah, for me at that time, man, and then I just had a personal stuff going on, man. I just decided just to hang it up.
So Marcel, Chaz, I mean, looking back, I mean, you can always do the, if you were to go back and how would you look at it differently? But along the way, you guys have talked about themes about how, for example, academic advisor didn't set you up properly, or a head coach maybe giving you information a little bit late. What are signs that like kids in high school that would love to play college and maybe pro? What are the signs they should look for when they're looking to play somewhere? Obviously, there's that dream school, right? They want to play at like University of Miami, Stanford, Alabama, but they don't all get those opportunities. So, what would you have hoped that you would have known in looking for the next place to play between like coaching, academic, to set you up best for success?
I would have just made sure that you're academically straight. Because I think that when your academics are straight, you can set yourself up. So even if you don't go to a big D1, like a huge D1 school, you can go to a good academic school.
Yeah.
And still play and still put yourself in the right position and also still had the cachet of going to like an Ivy League or something. Because I ended up coaching football, and that's what I told the kid. I was like, look, make sure your grades are straight.
Yeah.
Because my whole thing was a talent. If you are talented, they will find you. It doesn't really it matter in the long run because there's a whole bunch of people that went to Alabama that get cut.
Yeah.
They get cut in the NFL.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's just about making sure you're going to a place where you're playing and you're putting things on tape, but also making sure that your grades are straight so that you can have more options in case it doesn't work out. Because there's only a small percentage of athletes that make it to the NFL.
Yeah.
And that's the case. Like, that's just the way that it is. So I would say grades first just to set yourself up for life after football because it's not forever.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would echo that. I mean, I think and I was a fine student, a great student at times, but like it was never consistent, and that I think really hurt both me and Sel in the long run with limiting some of our opportunities that we could have potentially had at various points. So make sure that academics are like the front and center of everything that you're doing. I actually always like when like at times my mom would be like, you got to get a 3.0 or you can't like do this, that, or the other or play right now, And then I would, whenever I was in season, I would always be better. So like that was always key. And I think that's something that like, if I would have put more focus on earlier, because I was obviously pretty immature at a younger age too, and just like didn't take it as seriously. Like, I could just do it last minute. So just trying to be more disciplined on that. But then as far as like what kids should look for, it's like, again, I was kind of caught up in like that dream. Like I wanted to go to Miami, for example. Like I wanted to go to that big school, whatever. And that's cool if you can do it. But at the same time, if those opportunities aren't right there, you got to find out like a place that you can showcase your skills and that like is actually going to care for you, get a chance to try and talk to the coaches, get a chance to try and talk to the people that they work with, and get a plan for how they're going to set you up academically as well. Because again, like Marcel said, it's such a small percentage of people that even get to play college sports. It's even smaller percentage that make it to that next level. Right. That's what your goals are.
Right.
So really trying to see how they're going to not put you in a tough spot, because some of the athletes that I played with that were kind of, for lack of a better term, screwed over by that academic advisor, that set them back, like, and not even just playing wise, but graduation wise. Like my homie had to go make up 2.5 years of schooling because it didn't apply directly towards the degree that he was hoping it would, and just was getting bad advice. So just being mindful of that and just trying, I think that's the main thing I would try and do. Advise people to do when looking into a school. Look for an environment and situation that's going to be best for you, not just like the name on the front of the shirt.
The key thing, Ox, there's one last thing on that, is just don't take your opportunities that are provided to you for granted. because there's somebody else that's fighting tooth and nail to get to exactly where you're at.
Yeah.
And they're looking to take your spot. So if anything, just don't take any opportunity that you get for granted. That's
it. And I have a friend that went through kind of the basketball overseas route, played probably 10 years overseas, trying to make it to the league, finally gave up on it. And he to this day at this point now has an issue watching the NBA. He's just kind of burnt out from the grind and just kind of everything that he went through with that. Or do you guys still watch the NFL, college? Are you guys still cool with the game? Do you have any love or hate for it still at this point?
I do, yeah. I mean, I think we're both fans now. I had an issue watching it initially when I had to like make an announcement that I'm hanging it up, whatever it is. I couldn't watch college football, NFL games, like, because it just makes you like reminds you of what it feels like to be out there. And all you want to do is just like strap it back up and get out there. So that was hard. But after like a couple years, I was like, you know what, like, it is what it is. Like I'm now a professional. I can still enjoy the sport. So every once in a while you get that itch, but at the same time, I love sports too much to not watch. So
yeah,
I never get that itch. I'm so good. I'm so like, it was great while it lasted, but my knees are jacked up, my ankles jacked
really
up,
from those years.
Yes, like it's like I would have loved to make it. I would have loved to make it and do all that stuff, but I don't miss playing at all. I really don't. I enjoyed my life a lot better after I was done playing, to be honest with you.
Yeah. And then, fast forward into the corporate world now is, now we're fast forwarding to the point where I finally met Chaz, and we're both working at a recruiting firm in the city. What is it? Is that an easy transition for y'all? Like going from the athlete grind to like having to now be a little bit more buttoned up and Monday through Friday, or is it the same type of grind?
No, it was different for me. It was like I was doing a couple different jobs. Then I met UOX at K2. That was my first like quote unquote like office job. Yeah. Started drinking coffee in the mornings.
Right.
Because I was never into that. So I mean it was and just like sitting down like at a desk. Like I was especially there, you can't like they didn't give you any kind of freedom to roam around. So it was like,
they told you where to sit, man.
Yeah, no, exactly. Like, okay, you two can't sit next to each other anymore. So it's like class all over again. So it wasn't the grind of like just going through like what I had to do to succeed was the same, but it was completely different in that regard. Yeah.
Marcel, and then finally your transition into how did you get into staffing yourself?
No, actually, you know who got me into it was Mike Lamson.
Oh, shout out Mike Lamson.
That's what I'm saying. Like he told me, he said, you'd be great, man. You know how to talk to people. You seem like a nice dude. Like, you should just make that transition.
Right.
So I was like, all right, for sure. So let me just try to do that. And we in San Francisco, it's a tech hub. My dad is a little bit into tech as well. So he was like, yeah, man, you should go do that. But for me, I started out in it was like the boiler room.
Right.
Like, I don't know if y'all ever seen that movie, but they give you a table and a phone. I was in a dungeon. There was three other people in that thing. And they had this big old desk, and there was three people, and they paid you like $30,000 a year. And that's how you just got in the door, and you just had to just call all day. So my structure was a little bit different than how y'all was, because I had to go call and get my own clients.
Right.
I had to call and get my own companies to work with.
You were doing a full desk from the jump.
From the jump. Yeah. I didn't know nothing.
Yeah.
I didn't know anything. Like I had to find my little voice that people responded to. Like y'all know the voice. I had to find my little voice that people responded to. Man, I had to just figure it out.
Hi, my name is Marcel Thompson.
No, but you know what I realized? I was like, no, I can't come in like that. I just got to come in. I just got to come in smooth. I just got to come in smooth like I belong. That's what I was. And just, the gift of gab, being from the Bay, man, we born with that.
Right. We got the mouthpiece.
That's the environment that we in.
Right.
It is what it is. So, so they all felt that, and and it was, for me, it was just another obstacle, because if you knew my life, it was just obstacle after obstacle that I had to overcome. So for me, It was just another opportunity. And at this point, I was mature enough to be like, I'm not going to squander this opportunity. I'm just going to go in and go hard. And, the rest is history.
My parents were mad selfish when they named me Oxamawi, because that was the hardest part for me as recruiting at that staffing agency. Was the first fucking hurdle, man, was my name. Right. Hi, Oxamawi. Who? Huh? And they're so selfish to give me some unique ass African.
Is that where you shortened it? Or did you always?
I shortened it to Oxum, but that didn't work. So then I went to Ox, but then I had this complex in my head that wasn't professional enough. So that's why you saw me at the office, Chaz. Sometimes I wore ties on Friday, right? Try hard and everything. It was always in my subconscious that I wasn't professional enough, because I would go with the name Ox to try to make it easier for everybody to understand, but that didn't work either, right?
I mean, if you in sales, because recruiting is almost like sales. If you in sales, Ox is a power name, so you should have ran.
But then people would see me in person. I'm 5'8". They're like, "Oh, you're not who I was expecting." Yo, my favorite story because people couldn't really tell I was black from my phone voice, and there's this Indian dude I was talking to for like 4 months. Man, he was an SAP contractor, and he came to the Bay for some conference. I took him out to dinner, and this dude was staring at me all dinner, just jaw dropped, just and I was just trying to have a conversation with him. He stopped me mid sentence one time. He was like, "You're Ox?" I was like, "Yeah." He's like, "The Ox I've been talking to on the phone." I'm like, "Yeah." He's like, "You say you're from Oakland?" I was like, "Yeah, why?" He's like, "I thought you guys were into that hip hop type stuff." I'm paying for this man's food. Ram, what's his name? It was Ram Ramachala. Ram Rama something. I had to buy his food, man. I was like, "Yeah, I like hip hop and I also like classical and jazz." I had to
Right.
Yeah.
You played the role.
And then another low point at that job, man. I remember I was on the phone again with another engineer, and this dude was like, "Hey, buddy, Oxum is not an Indian name, is it?" I was like, "No, why?" He was like, "Why are you doing the job of an Indian?" I was like, "Yo, I had an existential crisis right there, bro. I almost gave up on life."
Wow.
Yeah.
That's super disrespectful, man. That's tough.
But so the staffing agency, I'm so glad you guys are out of the staffing world. I feel like there needs to be a 60-minute special on the staffing world, because it would get shut down immediately. It's human trafficking.
Oh, 100%. 100%. You're selling people.
You're selling people.
Hey, but you know what? It's tough. But it's tough. But if you don't sell them, somebody else gonna sell them.
No, that's not.
I mean, I remember,
in the staffing world, that's how I go.
Staffing is so bad.
It really is.
First couple times they're talking about we need someone that speaks English well,
right.
can't be heads down covered, just stick them in the corner type deal. We're working through third parties. The bill rate's $75, and I'm over here giving this dude, and they're giving him $40.
Yeah.
Bro, and he's over here knowing that he's getting cut down. So it's it was just stressful all the way around. It's I don't want any part of this. So once Facebook came knocking, I was like, please, yes, anything.
Did both of you guys have breaking points within the staffing world? Because obviously there's more money. There's more money in staffing. I remember mine. So what's yours, Marcel?
No, so I'll tell you exactly. So I was up for a promotion, right? So they would give you a promotion every 5 deals that you did, right?
Yeah.
So I was up and I was leading. I was the number 1 recruiter in the country for my just for my peer group, right? I was crushing it. I was leading the team, leading the office, getting new clients, pitching them out, getting everybody else out there.
Yeah.
And then they kept moving the goalposts on me.
Right.
So after I hit a certain number, and I hit that number, I'm like, all right, I expect to get promoted. Everybody else getting promoted.
Standard.
They didn't promote me. Oh, you got to work on this. You got to do this. So I do that. I fix it. I'm good. They can, oh, no, we can't do it yet. We just need you to be a little bit more in tune with this.
Yeah.
You know how they keep moving the goalposts on.
What's that code for, though? What was that code for, do you think, looking back?
What do you mean, in terms of what they wanted me to do?
What were they? Was it because you were black, or was it because you were too young, or why do you think it was that?
No, I don't think it was because I was black. I wasn't even the youngest person there. I was actually kind of one of the older people there because I got in so late. But I think it was the fact that I succeeded outside of the cookie cutter way that they all succeeded.
Yeah.
I found my own vibe, and I found my own way to do what I had to do and still produce without really kind of honestly without working as hard as them, because I knew how to talk to people. Like once I figured out how to what the lingo was and what the tech was, I could connect with people.
Right.
Like they had hard times connecting with people. They always came off super sleazy, and y'all know how recruiters are. You know, they give you sleazy in that.
Yeah.
I just came off just genuine, authentic.
Yeah.
And I just didn't have to do as much as they did to be more successful than them, and they didn't like that.
Yeah.
Which is everything. But back to your question, the breaking point, I was at a happy hour, and then our director, our managing director, came up to me. He's like, I know you're killing it. This is woman, white lady. I know you're killing it and all this stuff. And she was drunk. I know you're killing all this stuff, but you just don't make enough calls, and you're hitting the numbers, but you don't make enough calls. You're not doing this, not doing that. So we just can't do it yet. But if you do this and this over the next 2 quarters, you'll get promoted.
Over the next 2 quarters, that's 6 months.
But meanwhile, I'm making X amount of dollars there. But I have another offer from Zillow. Yeah. I got another offer that's over doubling my salary, but I'm able to stick it out because I'm just, I'm an athlete guy. I'm a team guy, I care about everybody on the team. I'm willing to stick it out.
Yeah.
You're telling me like this, I already got the offer in hand. I was going to turn it down.
Yeah.
And as soon as that happened, as soon as she said that, I came in the next morning. I said, I'm out, yo. I got this offer already on the table. I'm gone.
It's funny that I would attribute that Bay loyalty as well as the team aspect, are 2 things that have, I think, detrimented me in my professional career. If I play as hard as I can on the field, the back office will take care of me attitude, and just I want to fight for my guys. I want to put myself. I don't want to put myself first. I think that's a Bay thing too. The loyalty, fighting through it thick and thin. And I've missed out on promotions, and I think that I've missed out on opportunities because I've stuck it out places that I maybe should have jumped a little bit sooner.
Yeah, 100%. Like I feel the exact same way. And I have people telling me, man, you need to get up out of there, man. You're too good for whatever that situation is. I'm like, nah, man. We can do this. Blah, blah, blah.
Yeah. Did you have a breaking point, Chaz?
Yeah, and I was one of the people telling him to get out. Like, I was
you were. You were one of those people that told me to get out.
They keep moving that on you. Like they're playing right now, and you're good, obviously. So great. So for me, man, I think I just realized I would come home because like you said, the happy hours and stuff, and everyone's trying to you drink your problems away, while the next day everyone's backstabbing you, stealing your candidates, doing whatever, and then you go to the bar afterwards and you're supposed to act like, oh, we're still homies.
Hey, changing numbers in the system. That's so crazy. Changing clients' numbers in the system so you can't call them.
I got word straight up.
Oh, you just said it. You just gonna say his name.
I don't care. He straight up stole a candidate that was going to be my one of my first.
I remember that.
Placement.
I remember that. I will say Scott and BK gained me up on, because I came in graduating from business college thinking if I did the work stuff right, you couldn't tell me shit. Because I was doing everything right, and I will say Scott and BK taught me the game. That I'll never forget. Scott said you can keep it real as much as you want, but the realest motherfuckers are the ones flipping burgers at McDonald's. You don't have to keep it real all the time. And I mean, but he was a shiesty motherfucker though too.
Yeah. No. I do think you have tamed it down. You were you would get irked and just be like, all right, now it's a time to keep it real with what's her? I can't remember her name. It's not important.
Trisha Belinsky.
Trisha, yeah.
Fuck Trisha Belinsky, dude. Straight up. I don't care if this.
That's why I didn't get that job, is because I knew all you.
I know.
I knew everybody there. She was like, oh, no, we can't do that.
For what reason, bro?
She was gang.
I had my automatic escalator. They withheld me from my promotion for 2 months and then hired a white girl with zero experience at the level that I was supposed to be promoted at. That I was like, no, that's
trash.
No.
Trash.
Yeah, I mean, I think my breaking point was just realizing I was getting home to Alex every day and just being like, you know what, I would spend at least an hour and a half saying how much I hated this, that, or the other, the people that I was working with other than BK and a couple people So then I went on a trip to see my family, and I talked to my aunt, and it was just like, you're obviously not happy. And then Natano actually let me go because he knew I was interviewing elsewhere. Part of the reason. Because,
are you serious?
But that was like the best thing that ever happened to me because like I ended up getting the job at Facebook like 2 weeks after that. So it's like, for sure, like you guys, I was already ready to make the move, was starting to talk to some folks, and he just kind of pushed me. So I didn't have the same kind of instances you're talking about, like staying in a place that you shouldn't for too long, you know?
And it's great now, you know, we're all in-house now. We're all at reputable companies now. I would think that, you know, I think the biggest difference for me, and I say this all the time, is I've never been ashamed to say I work at the place I work, and I couldn't say that at the other places that I've worked before. You know, sometimes it's a little embarrassing saying where I was working at the time, but you know, the money piece has been harder for me personally, knowing how much money I could have been making if I stuck it out in the staffing world. But what are some takeaways that y'all took from your athletic journey and then your life in the staffing agency? Because there were some positives I definitely took away from that world.
I think for me, I think it's always been my dad. I mean, I go back to I was raised by a single father, so that's not necessarily normal. But he always tried to give me the game, man. You just got to be you specifically as a black man. You have to work harder. You just got to work double hard. You got to work harder than everybody else. First in, last out.
Right.
Grind. And one thing I learned, even in sports, and it translates to work, and it translates to relationships, and it translates to every aspect in life.
Yeah.
You cannot cheat the grind. You cannot cheat the grind. You can't do it.
Yeah.
It's impossible. And if you try to cheat the grind, you will fall flat on your face, and you will never get to where you're supposed to go.
That's true.
You got to go through it. You just got to go through it. That's why it's just like, when I started out in the agency, I didn't know what I was doing. I grinded it out, and I became the top performer. You know, I took a leap of faith and went to Zillow, started as a contractor, grinded it out. Now I'm going on to be a lead. You know what I mean? Like, you can't cheat the grind in anything, whether that's with your girl, whether that's with your friends, whether that's within your occupation. You can't do it, or you will never get to where you want to be.
Yeah, I mean, I echo all of that. I think my mom was always pretty disciplined and tough on just like making sure you did things the right way and being accountable and all that kind of stuff. So I think from my athletic career, it was really being level-headed in this, especially in tech recruiting and staffing. You know, like I would always have to remind you, like, can't get too high, can't get too low. You know, there's gonna be trials and tribulations. Like, there's gonna be some dry months, then there's gonna be some promotions. There's gonna be some promotions that you don't get. You know, like, but you can't ever lose sight of like just put like the grind, like you said, and like just keep pushing through it because you will see better times. You know, so I think that's the main thing I took away from the playing days.
Yeah, it's almost like this, Ox. This is a saying that I always love. It's just like, if you're going through hell, why would you stop there?
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
If you're going through hell, why would you stop there? Keep your ass going and make it out.
Right.
This is what it is.
Some of the worst advice that I've followed in my life has been you do what you love, and the money will follow. I think that's early on in my life, money was definitely driving me, and I think I sacrificed some opportunities because of that. And I think that's part of the reason why I've, gone down this route of, comedy and entertainment and everything. Obviously it hasn't paid yet, but if y'all could do anything that you wanted to do that you really loved, and you could get paid for it enough to help sustain your lives. I'm talking like help, like handsomely. What do you think that you guys would get into?
GM, like a league exec, be a GM, trying to be on the other side, trying to put the squad together. That's always been that. I always wanted to get into potentially being a GM. That was always like, Madden, you put together your whole team and everything.
Yeah.
You always think you could do it. So either NBA or NFL, that would probably be what I'd want to do.
Yeah. You take over the San Francisco 49ers, Santa Clara 49ers. What's the first move you make to fix that thing?
I think you got to figure out Jimmy.
Yes, thank you. That's it. We can end the interview now. That's all I wanted to get out of you. I just wanted to get that. That's all. I just wanted to get that out of you. That's good. You said enough. It is Jimmy. Thank you. Kaepernick, y'all would have been good. Marcel, same question.
Music, man. Music.
Like playing, funding it. What?
I would love to be like a producer.
Mm-hmm.
I would love to be a producer. Like I got into DJing. Like I was actually a pretty decent DJ.
Okay.
Like I got my whole system set up downstairs. I had like my own podcast that I was doing, back in the day. Where
okay.
I was putting out like hour-long mixes.
Yeah.
And getting some pretty good traction to it too. But that wasn't really paying.
Yeah.
And my girl was pressuring me at the time. I got to get this money, so I decided just to do the right thing.
Yeah.
But music, man, I love music, man. I feel like I got an ear for it. I make beats on my iPad and stuff like that are pretty dope.
Yeah.
Just to do it, man. But that's what I would do, man. Music, man. I love it.
How have the kids changed your lives? Because obviously I'm not there yet that I know of. What was the shift in your lives when y'all found out you were having kids?
They slow you down. They make you relearn what patience is truly about. I think there's been no greater feeling, and I know it's like super corny to say, but like you see yourself, and you have an opportunity to provide whatever you can and try and give them a better life than we had growing up, and give them more opportunities and be able to hopefully not squander them as we sometimes have done in our past. So it's been a great journey. Obviously, I have an older son and a younger son, but I think honestly, just patience and learning their personalities. And also, I think you can't go into it with a mentality of like what your kids are going to do. Like,
right.
You got to let them kind of like give them guidance, but let them form as they're going to form. Like I always wanted my kids to play sports. If they don't want to play sports, totally fine, So I think just kind of learning on the fly too, being adaptable. But it definitely slows you down because you're not going out like that no more.
Yeah.
You have a real responsibility. So.
Yeah, no, for me, man, the thing about my situation is that me and my wife were trying for a long time. We were trying for years, I think. And we just had some complications that finally broke free, and then we were able to have a kid, man. So I think for us, and we had kids later on in life, so we were just a little bit more established.
Later on in life.
I mean, you got to think about it, man. My dad had me when he was 24. He had my older brother when he was 21. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's just not feasible today, though. Yeah, no, I got you. Yeah,
times are way different. So
yeah,
I was just a little bit more established in life now.
Yeah.
So I was actually ready for it and ready to take on that challenge. And I was more mature, and things were good. But with my son, man, I love him to death, man. He's just a little dude, man. He don't look like me, but I know I'm in there,
that might be like he could be like an agent, you know what I'm saying? A covert ops where he got the Marcel game, but at first, I kind of wanted him to look like me, but I think, he looked like his mom, and his mom is beautiful, so that's all that really matters. So, but he's big as hell though too, so he kind of got my frame. I mean, he's like racially ambiguous. You kind of try to have to figure him out a little bit, being that he's half Asian, half black. Oh man,
he would be able to move in different circles than I was able to move in. You know what I mean? The game is thick. You know what I mean? But,
yeah.
But it's good though, man. I got nothing but love, man. I got no problems with him. Tantrums, all that stuff. Like I'm here for it all.
I always love to end these on cheesy type of question, man. So, Chaz, Marcel, if y'all could give your kids one message, and Chaz, I know you have two. So if it's two different messages, that's fine too. But what's one thing that they hope that they remember for the rest of their lives from you all?
That I did everything, especially the game. I did everything I could to be a part of his life and do the right thing. I mean, it's pretty well documented. Like I traveled back and forth to see my son and really kind of had to force myself into that situation to even be a part of his life. So
Yeah.
I'm sure we're gonna have conversations about it as he gets older and he becomes adult. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I hope, and it's probably gonna take him a while to like process all of that, but I just hope he understands that I did everything I could to be a part of his life, and support him. And then for Theo, just that I love him just as much as his older brother, and I do everything for him too. You know, like dad's a ride or die forever.
Yeah, no, Chaz. I mean, I don't want to get all sappy, but like I said that you were one of the best dads I know, man. Like I you know, you didn't have obviously the stereotypical perfect situation, but like I saw how hard you worked towards that, man. And so I always respected that about you. So I will repeat that here for all 60 or 100,000 listeners that I do have. Like you are a really, really great dad, man.
Well, yeah, I appreciate that. It's I told you I hate when you say that because
I know.
I feel like it's like a cheap knock, but no, it's. I mean, I do appreciate it because it's hard to remember that at times, especially when you don't feel like you're able to be there as much as you always want to. Yeah,
for sure. Yeah.
I really appreciate that.
Marcel,
I think there's just so much, man. There's just so much that I want to say, but I think that and this can kind of be a little bit random, actually, but it actually resonated with me through a lot of different aspects of life, is that I wanted to make sure that he knows that people will tell you the truth under two circumstances. When it's stress and under alcohol. Actually, three circumstances: stress, alcohol, and when there's women involved. For real. Swear to God, you will see people act out when they're drunk, when they're under stress, and when it's over a female.
You said won't tell you the truth?
They will. They will.
Okay.
They will. They will show you who they are.
Oh, I got you.
Three scenarios.
Right.
Stress, alcohol, and women.
You're going to be at the bars with your kid like, you see that? That's what I was telling you right there. You see that?
But you know what's so crazy, man? My dad always told me that, but then when I got older, especially in college, and then older, like that stuff is so true, man. Like if you like you ever watched the movie Godfather, Al Pacino's character, he never drank. He never drank because he would get out of character, but he would just always observe. And everybody would always show their hand.
Right.
Always show their hand on stress, alcohol, and over women.
Right.
It will happen every single time. Every time. It never fails. So that's like, there's so many things I want to say, but I think that one lesson will actually really take you a long way in terms of figuring out who is for you, who's really for you, who's really your friend, and who's just there. Because at the end of the day, you really my dad told me, you only got 2 to 3 real friends. 2 to 3 real friends in your whole life. That's all you got.
That sucks. I mean, you only got one left after the two of us on here.
I know. That's what I'm saying. Hey, we together though. We riding. That's all that really matters.
You got one roster spot at this point.
That's what I'm saying. But you just got just think about that, man. You really think about your circle.
That's real though, man. That's real. I'm definitely you've had some bites for me to think about, man, for a minute. I appreciate y'all, man. Is there anything any lasting words you want to say here, man?
I thought we was going to get into some other stuff too.
What you want to get into? I got time. I was worried about y'all.
No, I'm good. What's it called? Like we can get into. We can.
Let's get into it. I know you want to. Let's do it. Do you have time, Chaz? I got time.
I got a little bit of time. Yeah.
This is the bonus portion of it. I know. Go ahead, Marcel. Let's bring it up.
All right. So let's talk about. I would love to talk about Biden. To be honest with you.
Okay.
I'd love to talk about Biden. Because he's given this gee golly whiz, I'm the good guy in this particular scenario, which is great. But I was talking to my dad earlier because Trump kept killing him on the crime bill, like way back in the '90s, early '90s, and I was a little bit too young at that point to really kind of
predators, called us super predators,
right? So he kind of gave me the sauce on that. But I would love to hear do you think, as a black man, do you think that Biden sponsoring that particular crime bill back then was or do you think we should hold that against him as a black community?
I think if that's, I'll answer. I think we should hold that against him. To your point, in a sense, it does show his true colors. You know what I'm saying? But at the same time, I think we're overthinking it at this point. Like, this is what we got into last time. Like, I understand it's not the ideal candidate, but at the same time, it's the best option we got. You know what I'm saying? Like, I may not want $2 steak or a shitty burger, but I'm going to take the $2 steak if it, like, you know what I'm saying? It just doesn't. I think at this point, people are trying to find things, and like, he's not speaking to the black community. He's just trying to play it kind of safe. And I do think that that bothers me, but it doesn't bother me as much as like the alternative. You know what I'm saying? I won't even say his name. So that's my two.
A huge issue I have with society in general is we don't allow people to make mistakes, and because of that, I think people are like so scared of admitting faults. Biden said in the debate last night, and has said that 100% of everybody voted that the crime bill against us. You know what I'm saying? So anybody within politics, that you can hold that against them. Where I would like for him to be a little bit more vocal about, and other people that have made mistakes in the past, because that was a completely different time. If we asked our parents certain takes on how we feel about gender equality, if we took their sound bites from back then, they all would be canceled, right? And I just wish that we lived in a place where people had the had the genuine freedom to admit, like, fault. Number one, he was wrong about that issue. It did not work, right? I mean, he's just so much clear cut better than the other candidate, though, for me. So I agree with Chaz, where I think there's a lot of nitpicking going on, and that pisses me off. And we're also playing two different games, Democrats and Republicans. The Republicans, at the point when he's talking about grabbing women by the hoo-ha, and then you're going to try to talk about all these other bad things he's doing. No, like, they let that one go. Nothing else is going to incriminate this man, right? But then you got Sleepy Joe. Every little thing he's ever done in the past wrong is being criticized by the left. Like, we're not playing the same game. One dude is allowed to deflate footballs, and the other team isn't even allowed to hold, for a 15-yard penalty. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I totally agree with you. I was talking to my dad about this earlier, and he was just saying that at the time, because he was around at the time, it was just as it kind of goes with a lot of things, until it affects the majority, the minority of the people kind of get the short end of the stick. And he was talking about a whole bunch of things of why that was at that particular time, and why that tune has changed right now from the majority of the people that live in this country in terms of treatment of drug abuse, as opposed to incarceration for having it. And that was just a whole different. Yeah, it was a whole different thing back then. But you're right, Ox. Like, giving somebody a chance to come out and say that that was wrong, and this is what we should do now, and this is what I'm going to do. I think that definitely goes a long way. But my dad was saying that at the time, that was just really jacked up, man.
Yeah, and I mean, look, so they call us super predators, right? But right. And that was, but you have, I think, politicians wise, they haven't really had the black agenda front and center, and I do think that there are things that we can do as a community. That can help, but it's really tough. 7 years ago, when Trump was running against Hillary, I didn't really care, because I felt like at the end of the day, neither of them were fighting for me, and I was going to adjust either way, right? But now I'm seeing. You talked about tunes. Now, the tune that you are seeing right now is the confidence that white supremacists have right now. They've never felt in my lifetime more protected, more supported ever. I mean, I see the American flag, and that's an instantly to me a symbol for hate.
Straight.
I see the American flag flying from people's pickup trucks or in front of people's houses, and I get scared. And I definitely am on my P's and Q's at that moment when I see people flying their American flags.
Yeah, no, 100%. I think, and that's the that's really the key thing here. Like,
yeah, because just because I see a lot of people, a lot of those racists hiding behind the American flag to justify the atrocious things that they're doing to other human beings. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No. I was just about to say that 100%. And I think that's why it's important for us to make sure that everyone goes out and votes and gets this guy out of here, because for us, it's not a safe environment for us. It's not, it's as Black people, it just really isn't, because the white supremacists are more comfortable, more empowered to do whatever it is that they want, pretty much more than any time before the laws changed.
Right.
Like it's real crazy. But I just wanted to ask that question just in general, because I'll talk with a couple of people that feel a certain way about it, but I just want to ask a question.
Yeah, the amount of people to me that are I had no idea it's this bad are like just making me like nothing new is happening, only that these people feel a lot more comfortable about speaking out. But they weren't born yesterday, right? Like this isn't Nazi Germany where all of a sudden they're blaming their issues on Black people. You know what I'm saying? They've had this hatred towards Black, Latinos, all people of color, really. Anybody that wasn't white. And it's I don't know how Joe Biden doesn't just say to Trump last night at the debate, "Are you an idiot? Do you not know how America was founded on immigration?" Right? And he's talking about we got to shut everybody from coming in here. That it's honestly, this is why I don't talk about it too much, because there's so many things that just don't make sense. That it's like we're having these philosophical, high level conversations. It's basic human rights.
Right, 100, 1,000. I couldn't agree more.
That's all it is. Yeah.
And I mean, Chaz, you're up in the Pacific Northwest. It's not so sweet for us up there.
Nah, it's not. I mean, the people have been cool. But yeah, man, I get some random questions about like, oh, like your hair and like this, and how come like someone's like, oh, talking about driving, and it's like, oh, the guy is like, I do all the driving. She doesn't like to drive, and she's like, oh yeah, like I've noticed that with like Black people, the woman drives. Like, why is that? I was like, I mean, you actually want a response right now, or like, what are you doing here? Like,
with Black people, the woman drives?
Yeah, apparently I always see the Black guy in the passenger side, not the driver's seat.
You know, our license be suspended and shit. Yeah.
Oh man, if that ain't some Bay Area, I don't know.
Oh my God,
that's hilarious.
You know, I've started taking more of a lot more of an active role wherever I can in human rights, and I just hope that by the time I have children, by the time your two kids and your kid is in high school, they think this shit is all stupid, because it is. It's so stupid.
It's pretty straightforward. It's
so stupid that just the color of our skin, where you're born, like I hate borders. I know that now this is super, super like hippy dippy, but the idea of borders is dumb to me. Like, if the aliens come, divide and conquer, they've already half of the strategy is already everyone's already divided over what though? Like the things that we could all be accomplishing if we share our resources. It's insane. It's insane that because of all of a sudden at a certain time period we decided to stop migration.
I mean, but in a capitalist society, man, you're not supposed to really share resources like that, man. It's survival. It's survival of the fittest, man. You get it however you get it. You know,
Jeff Bezos is never going to be able to spend the money that he has.
No, he's not.
And
he's not. The thing though, it comes down to selfishness. Like, that's really at the heart of it. It's like it's either that, or you really, like us has been saying, like you really just don't care about human decency or our life. Like, and it's leaning towards that, but at the same time, the root of it is obviously selfishness. Because if you eliminated our skin color, like what makes us different? You know, so like, Why is it not important to, but then and everyone on that side, not everyone, but most of the reason they're on that side is because for tax reasons, you know?
So,
so they have to share those resources.
No, I did missions for the first time a couple months ago, and I got to say that was probably one of the most, like, in recent history, life-changing experiences I've had. And it just, like, the amount of clarity I had on just what's, like, everything that's happening, like literally everything that's going on. And, the idea of race is so stupid. And what I saw so clear was just how every human being on this planet makes a ripple, right? Like they have a ripple effect, and obviously they affect their immediate circle, and then they and then the more and more it reaches out, it has an effect on everything, the planet, the animals. And at some point along the way, people just stopped caring about the ripple effect that they were going to leave. Like, it's just, I don't know how, I don't know, like, there's a question of, morality. Like, there's a question of like, what do you owe society? What do you owe the world? And it's like, nothing. Like, you're born in this country, in a world without a contract. But at the same time, it's like, you don't really care about what you're leaving behind for your future children or the generations behind you. And so that's been this replaying in my mind ever since I saw that. And I really want to make sure the ripples I leave on this planet are positive ripples for the future generations.
100%. I think that's all that we can do individually, and in our particular space, man. You really got to be aware of how you move in this world, and how you affect people, and also even when it comes to the environment, and what type of, like, for my son, me and my wife talk about this all the time in terms of where is the world and where's the world going to be 50 years from now.
Crazy.
What's going to, are we going to have any type of, like, fossil fuels left? Are we going to have infrastructure set up to succeed? Like, what type of world is my son going to be living in?
And it's crazy. 8 months ago, you're having a completely different conversation, because now after this pandemic and everything you're seeing, I mean, it's like, now even that, where you see the world in 50 years has completely shifted, I bet, for you too, as parents.
Yeah, no, you really think about that, because, your whole purpose is to set up your son or daughter for success, and making sure that the world that they live in is going to be prosperous for them, and they have all the opportunities that they have. But if we don't have a world to live in, if the shit is just the stuff is just in chaos, that's going to be a tough time. But I agree. All you can do is just affect what you can affect, man. That's really it. Control what you can control.
Yeah, no, I mean, that's a great point by Ox and by you. So, I mean, I think for me, I think about that all the time. What's the world even going to look like, especially with, like, the advancements in technology, like AI kind of kicking off and different things. Like, what is our world going to be like? Like my favorite animal growing up was a tiger. We might not even have tigers soon. They're in species. Like, that's crazy to me. Like, that we don't care enough about our actual environment to take care of the space that we live in, or, like, just don't pay attention to it because it's not important to us. So that scares me the most. But I do agree that, like, the ripple effect is real, and all we can do is, like, spread as much peace, love, and help, I guess, around to the rest of society, so they can see it, and hopefully we can just continue to build off of that. If we all start to be more positive and not focus as much on the negative, I mean, we have to focus on the negative, but trying to push forward more positivity. I know it's something Seal and BK are big on. So I've been trying to be in that mindset too.
So you two live in major cities right now, and I've just assumed that corporations can start moving out of these huge cities just because rent, for example, is going to be a lot cheaper if everyone's going to be able to be working effectively remotely. Like, what have y'all seen from the cities in terms of the pandemic and migrations? Have people been leaving?
Yeah. So in the city, we just got Zillow just told us that we're permanently remote employees, and pretty much the majority of the company is
indefinitely, or for how long?
Indefinitely. They said indefinitely. So I think what you're going to start seeing is, one, it really kind of depends on kind of how corporate taxes kind of broken down, and if the corporations in certain states are going to be paying more, they're going to start moving out. But also the overhead, like an office like Zillow in San Francisco, we got like 10 floors.
Yeah.
And then now they're going to reduce that to one floor.
Right.
That cuts down costs
a lot. Yeah.
And you don't have to bring food in the office.
Right.
You don't have to pay for community benefits. I don't have to pay for this office space.
Right.
I don't have to do none of this stuff. You know what I mean? But really the companies are still gaining more money, but they have less overhead.
Right.
So I think that a lot of these companies are going to start shifting to this either type of hybrid model or only kind of fully remote model for those industries that can support that.
I don't know why my head goes to these places, man. The company found out how to turn cocaine into crack.
Man.
They're like, wait, we don't gotta pay for these people to
we still get the same results. We still get the same results, and it's even more powerful. It's crazy, man. It's just the game, man.
Oh, man.
It's just, how can I make the most? This is our country, though. How can I make the most money?
Yeah.
And cut the costs out and cut the costs out. That's just how it is, man. And that's just the way that our country is, man. It's like that in every aspect. How can I do more with less?
Yeah. Chaz, you go, and then I do have one last question. I'm sorry. You guys are bringing up all these questions in my head, so I'm sorry. Chaz, go ahead.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think so. For clarity, I'm in like Issaquah, so it's like 20 minutes outside of Seattle, a little bit more suburban area. But when we were going into the office, you already see the changes. They told us first it was going to be a month, then it was going to be the end of the year. Yeah, they just told us now it's going to be June 2021. So
for us too, yeah.
Yeah. So, and there's still, I mean, I agree with Sel. Like, it's either going to be if it's possible in certain areas for sure. They're just going to go fully remote model. Now, it's funny because, like, in the hiring, like, they're like, oh, they're all fully remote. Like, we don't want to consider them. And now, like, everyone's getting fully remote roles. But
how much easier would your jobs have been? How much easier would our jobs have been if we could have been hiring remote employees that were actually right for the job instead of trying to fit a round peg into a triangle?
Bro, I had some dude.
Okay.
I had some dude just before this all happened that was in Portland that didn't want to move up to Seattle.
Right.
He was fine coming in a couple of days, but they wanted him in office as like full time, and he moved on to a different opportunity. It's like, bro, like, it's crazy. But yeah, I mean, I think it's going to be a hybrid model. They told us, if anything, probably hotel desk, like in the office a couple days a week. It's like. So you're probably going to have to like reserve your slot in there.
But I think at that point, that's just micromanaging. We just want to see that you're still working. I can't see that. I think they're going to realize that that's a really arbitrary rule also and back up off to that. Yeah. I think at some point.
I think you'll be given the choice depending on your role and function. Yeah. But I do think like some people do, like some people I want to go back to the freaking office at least like 2 days, 3 days, like 2 days is probably fine. But like, I want some kind of office life that like, it is nice to get the break from home every once in a while and build the camaraderie with your actual team. Like unless you do this or plan, like we have like virtual happy hours and stuff like that, but you don't get the side conversations while you're doing stuff and you don't pick up different things that people do all the time. So I do think that's lost in this. And some people don't do as well without getting some of that energy back. You know?
True. No, I found out that I'm actually a closet introvert, Brand. I've really found that the social distancing from my coworkers has been amazing. I don't have to fake like I like their dogs and everything in the office, and I don't got to hear about everyone's surf trips and stuff. So I work in a different place though. All right, the last question I really do have, and this is something that I'm so interested in. But what do you think what do you think the effects from not being around people is going to, like, the social interaction effect is going to be like on people?
I think it's going to have a lasting effect. Like it's going to change how we do things. I think we're starting to see that people, like some people clearly don't care. They're already letting fans in games and stuff. And I think people, again, do need that. So some people are immediately going to go back to it, but it's also from now on, you start hearing something like, until there's a vaccine or we're like fully past this, like you hear someone cough, you're going to get worried. Like they're going to
for sure.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? This is going to change distancing like rules for, I think, for a while, and just like how people interact, whether via like apps and stuff like that, like social apps, dating apps is what I mean. But
all those stocks went through the roof.
I'm worried about that for future generations. Like, how is that going to look for them? And especially kids that are in school right now that don't get the full interaction with their peers, you know?
Yeah.
How's that going to affect them as they're moving along in their scholastic career? So it's like, that all of that does worry me, and I think it's going to have a lasting effect. What that is, I don't know.
I think crime's going to go up once we're allowed to get back out too. I want to look at like the crime statistics of how much things has dropped. I'm assuming since we've all been, you know, kind of quarantined in homes. And for example, just 2 weeks ago, Ventura County just started allowing people to eat indoors now. Not full capacity, but some people are still allowed indoors. That happened on a Wednesday 2 weeks ago. Friday, someone was already getting stabbed.
Yeah.
Like 3 days, you've been let out the house and you stabbing people now?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'd be interested to see those numbers too. Because I mean, I was worried about like domestic violence and like stuff like that.
Yeah, you're right. That is,
and why, like DeMarco's already said, our homie who's a police officer just already said that's definitely risen. I wouldn't assume that these, you know. So like, I wonder if it's just going to translate to them being able to do stuff on the streets, or how that's going to work.
Right.
Hopefully, I never thought about crime rates going up. I thought it might help them, honestly.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that does make sense.
No, my wife said actually San Francisco the crime rate is higher than it's
really
been, I think. But I want to sort of back to your point, Ox, in terms of like the non-interactive aspect.
Yeah.
I think we were already going down that path.
Yeah.
With social media and the way that people interact with each other. I think that with anything, even without social media, if this happened without social media, people would be going insane. Like people would be going absolutely insane. But I think that people are a little bit already conditioned to not necessarily interact with each other all the time, because they're either always on their phone or they're always typing something to somebody else. It's just like the way, like when I was, you know, circling dust back to my experience when I was single. You know, when I was single, you go out to a bar, you go out, you actually talk to somebody and actually get to know them. And basically you're on like a 3 to 4 or 5 minute date to see if there's any sort of type of connection there. If not, you won't. But now people talking all this stuff on the apps or whatever, but then they go and actually meet somebody in real life. They don't know how to talk to nobody.
It's true.
They don't know.
It's true.
They have no idea how to make a connection with anyone.
Yeah, and I can tell you from firsthand experience. I mean, people have a whole internet personality, and then you meet in person, and it's just like, why are you acting like a doormat right now? Like, say something. Like, talk,
do something. Like 100%, man. And I'm really glad that I didn't necessarily grow up in that era, man.
Oh yeah, y'all should be very happy you didn't grow up in this. This is terrible. You guys are lucky. I'm telling you, this is trash.
Yeah, and how's that? The app? Are you on the apps?
I don't do the apps, man. The apps are weird to me, man. I don't do the apps. I thrive in situations when I'm not supposed to thrive, like in an elevator. You're not supposed to talk in the elevator, right? But those are situations where it works for me, or in a grocery store, or you know, in traffic. You know, I thrive in situations in which I'm not supposed to thrive in.
Yeah, no, that absolutely that makes sense to me. But it's just like that's because you're a personal guy. Like your personality shows, and that's what creates that type of connection.
Hey man, I've been on the bench my whole career. You know what I'm saying? So I had to have more than just my athletic ability to help me overcome certain hurdles. You know what I'm saying? You and Chaz were you know, blessed and cursed with your starting abilities.
No, I would say, you know, for mine, you have to live up to that. You have to live up to that. You know what I mean? You have to live up to that. That's a lot. That's a lot of pressure. I like to come in under the radar, no expectations, and shock the world. That's really kind of really my motto, man.
I got you. Hey, I under promise and over deliver. That's me.
That's the way to work. Yeah. That's the way to work. That's the way to do it, man. That's how you get ahead in these days. I promise you. I promise you, under promise, over deliver.
I'll try to get there on time, show up 15 minutes early.
Oh, you know, I had a little bit of time. You know, I had a little bit of time. That's all I got.
Hey, listen, y'all. I really appreciate y'all, man. We got to keep this to an hour and 45. No one's listening to a 2-hour podcast anymore. No. I'm not Joe Rogan.
That's true. But you will be, though. I believe in you.
I don't want to be Joe Rogan, man. He's sold out, man. I want to stay Ox. Listen, I appreciate y'all. It's Friday night. Please say what's up to Alex and Katie for me. I miss y'all. I'm moving to San Diego soon, so if you got housewarming celebration, okay.
I'm out there in a hazmat suit.
Oh, I forgot. Y'all got kids. All right.
I'm out there.
All right, y'all. Appreciate y'all, man.
All right, brother.
Appreciate you having us on, bro. Yeah.
No.